am the new generation of scary stories. It's time to retire the boring, emotionless voiceovers. With my voice and melody, you will experience the full spectrum of emotions. Subscribe if you like my videos, and also send me your scary stories to my email. And please indicate how you would like me to introduce you in the video. Good luck.
My fiancé, 21 meters, and I to after dash together. He recently had a back surgery that made him unable to do it alone. Getting in and out of the car was difficult for a while, so he drives and I do all the other stuff. It's a great system. We're very efficient and we never really have any trouble. Until today. We usually dash after 10:30 p.m. but we decided to go out from 12:04 p.m. as well before our usual time for some extra cash. It was smooth the whole time until we do a double order at McDonald's. I'm exiting the McDonald's, order in hand, and crossing the parking lot when I notice out of the corner of my eye a bright yellow car with a black front bumper pulling up. I hit a little jog to not be in his way for too long and get into our car. We pull out and start to drive past the drive-through towards the exit. We almost get past that yellow car from earlier when he decides he doesn't want McDonald's anymore and pulls out into us. My fiancé is an extremely aware driver and noticed immediately. We swerve and drive forward to evade him and he keeps pulling out. He apparently doesn't notice. He's inches away from another car for 3 full seconds and we almost hit another parked car in the parking lot trying not to get clipped. Luckily there was no contact. My fiancé is, admittedly, hot-headed. I will say though, I think his reaction was justified based on how clearly distracted this guy was. My fiancé rolls down his window and says, "What the hell are you doing?" Apparently was way too far. The driver and the passenger, without even exchanging a glance, hop out of their car and tried to approach us. Of course, my fiancé isn't trying to get in a one in the McDonald's parking lot and starts to drive away. We're heading towards the exit and I hear him say, "They're following us." I glance in the passenger side mirror and sure enough they're speeding up behind us. If they tried to open the door, I'm gonna have to kill these guys, he says to me while grabbing his gun from the center console. I'm immediately shaken and start yelling, "Chill and just drive over and over." As much as these guys are assholes, I really don't want to see anyone die today. We have to stop at a stop sign before entering onto the main road. They pull up right next to us and make hard eye contact while once again exiting their car. My fiancé speeds off and yells to call the police. I do and start shakily explaining what's happening and where we are to the operator, while watching them follow closely behind in the mirror. I can't explain to you how terrifying these guys were. The looks on their faces was so sinister. They were smiling. They weren't angry. They weren't upset. They were having fun. It was like they'd been waiting for something like this. They followed behind us for 10 miles. As the operator directed us to the police station. The whole time they motioned for us to pull over, and every time we had to stop at a stop sign, they opened their doors. I'm so grateful we didn't get stuck in a line of cars or hit any red lights. The operator instructed us to pull into the police station parking lot. Roll up your window and lock your doors. Do not talk to them, she warned. My fiancé, fuming from the whole situation, replies, "If they come up to my car, I'm gonna shoot them." He explained to me after he meant, "When we pull up to this parking lot, there better be an officers because I will defend myself." and my fiancé any way I need to from these clearly unhinged people. But now isn't really the time to be articulate. So this is a recorded lie. She sounded almost offended. We live in Ohio. By the way, castle doctrine also covers your vehicle. If someone tries to attack you or even tries to enter your car, you are fully within your right to use lethal force. The idea of it made my stomach drop even lower than it already was. Unfortunately, we weren't that familiar with the area, and in all the chaos, we missed the turn. We saw the fire station and pulled in there. I am still thanking God there was a firefighter standing out there, because as soon as they saw him, they continued to drive straight down the road. As they did, lo, the passenger leered out the window at my fiancé, eye contact and smirking. The firefighter was an absolute angel, reassured us not to be nervous about having the firearm, and that we did everything right trying to get away. We ended up making a statement with the police, just to have it on the record that we've had an incident with these guys, and hopefully they don't do that to anyone else. After all the chaos, we still completed those orders. So it was a happy ending for someone at least. I was having some doubt that maybe they didn't have bad intentions. Maybe they just wanted to talk. But why would they follow us? And why would they drive away when they saw someone in uniform? It gives me chills thinking about what they were planning on doing. We did end up going back out at our normal time, but to be honest, I was definitely looking over my shoulder the whole time. I was 14. My two cousins M and S were 13 and 9 at the time. I am 32 now. I grew up in WV, in the middle of mountains, in the middle of nowhere. My cousins would be dropped off for the summer and spring break at our grandpa's house, which was next door to me. So I got to see them quite often. We would climb the mountains and go for walks up the road. We would walk to what we called the first new house. Basically, someone new had built a house a mile from where I lived and had been a while since most homes there are much older. Anyway, there is a mile that is just open and no homes or anything within that mile. One day we decided to go for a walk, and we noticed a white van parked on the side of the road near the creek, but no people. We walked by a T and I told my cousins to stay near me because it was quite unusual. We walked by to the first new house and turn around to walk back home, and the van is still there, but this time there are two men staring at us and not looking away, just looking at us coldly, and I whispered to my oldest cousin to grab us and run. We took off running and they start coming after us in the van. Finally, we come across the neighbor's yard, which had a creek right before the yard, and I tell them to jump and throw my little cousin S down the hill into the creek, and I continue running. And luckily my dad was standing on our bridge when I got there. I'm freaking out and telling my dad that the two men were trying to get us into the van. As I was telling my dad, the van drives by and the two men gave me a stare that I can only describe as evil. Their eyes held no emotion. My cousins were fine. S had cuts from some briars because I threw her over the hill. I didn't jump because I had a bad knee and knew I wouldn't be able to run anymore if I had jumped. So I took my chances of my knee giving up by continuing down the road, rather than knowing I wouldn't be able to get up. I jumped down the hill. We never saw that van again. We noticed the license plate was covered. There were no windows except the ones in the front. I knew they had bad intentions. Luckily, we were all fine. I literally just got off my shift delivering for Walmart. To give context of this story, I took a batched order this morning that was not in my usual area. It was in a city probably 25 miles from my usual pickups. Well, I finished my last order in another city, which is 35 to 38 miles from my actual house. I'm driving along, get spooked by cops, whatever. Then I see this car riding my ass, with specific headlights and a Toyota logo. Annoyed, I keep driving. I keep checking throughout my drive. They are still behind me. I'm crossing through towns and other cities to get home. Looking in my rear view, they are still trailing right behind me. I am getting more and more anxious as my GPS tells me I am 20 minutes from home. I check my mirror. The Toyota RAV is still behind me, closer than before. 15 minutes. They back off just a bit. 10 minutes. I am coming up on an intersection and they are still behind me. I need to make a choice, go straight or turn. I turn quickly. No brakes, no turn signal. Traffic thickens, and I am pushing 50 mph on this road. I see them come up behind me once more. I'm sweating. The GPS tells me I have one more turn to make before I know where I really am. I floor it. I made just enough distance to take this turn again. Without a blinker and brakes, the turn is more of a side road that you can ease onto. I am pushing 50 the whole way. My car is going over bumps and I'm praying this person lost me. I come to the end of the road. I either go left to go home or right to get gas. I was nervous and scared. I turn right thinking if I go public, my usual gas station guys will help. I pull into the gas station, get 30, have them pump it while I do deep breathing. Right as the gentleman comes back with my card, the Toyota RAV pulls up next to me and the man inside is craning his neck to stare directly at me and grin. I never left that gas station so fast and booked it home. It's 6 minutes from my house. I got there in 3. Whoever that guy is, stay the hell away from me. I carry knives and mace for a reason. I was about 16 at the time, still living at home deep in the mountains at my family's home divided by cottage. I frequently walked the woods surrounding my home, but never really went that far out, either out of lack of curiosity or simply because I was lazy. One evening, I decided to take a flashlight and walk as far as I comfortably could into the valley behind my property. There's a large amount of deer, bears and other animals near where I live, so I also brought some bear spray with me. I was about 25 minutes, maybe more into my walk, when I started to get an uneasy feeling, like I was incredibly vulnerable or that I wasn't alone. I shrugged it off because I probably wasn't alone. I mean, there is a lot of wildlife in the forest, so it's not like I can just expect to be alone. I neared the creek that flowed around our property and noticed some garbage and some pots and pans next to the water, as well as what looked like a tattered sleeping bag and some shoes. I didn't think much of it, continued my walk thinking about it every now and then, wondering if someone was camping out near our house. It was almost completely dark out now, so I turned around and began walking home. I kept glancing over my shoulder back towards the creek, worried someone might be behind me. After about 5 or 6 minutes of walking in the pitch black, I heard some branches snap a little ways behind me. My blood ran cold and I felt my heart skip a beat. I turned around and spent a minute just shining my flashlight in every direction, wondering if a deer or, God forbid, a bear was following me. Once I felt sure that nothing was there, I kept on walking. Not even a minute after I heard running footsteps trampling behind me. I didn't even turn to look what it was or who it was. I just began running as fast as I could. I'm pretty sure I called out, pleading with whatever it was or whoever it was to stop. I was still about 15 minutes from home. I desperately sprinted through the trees, trying to keep my flashlight pointed forwards so I didn't trip or fall. I kept pleading and screaming, hoping whatever it was would give up, but I kept hearing footsteps stumping behind me and branches being snapped off the trees violently. I heard pain grunting and what sounded like someone violently growling. I began crying out of fear, tears filling my eyes as I ran. Sounded like they were right behind me, almost like they could reach out and grab me. I heard one loud growl divided by scream right behind me, as whatever it was seemed to have fallen or slipped up. I kept sprinting and never dared to look back. I eventually stopped hearing the running behind. Once I made it to my property line, the light of my house in the distance ahead of me, I turned to see if I was still being followed. What I saw still torments me even now. A freakishly tall man was standing about 100 yards from me, my flashlight only barely illuminating him. He was wearing what looked like a tattered hoodie and no pants. I stood there for a moment, struck with fear, waiting to see if he would move. As I was about to turn away and run the last stretch to my house, he started sprinting viciously towards me, and by vicious I mean he was almost on all fours, using the trees to propel himself further, grabbing at the ground, lunging towards me. I let out a scream and ducked under my fence and sprinted as fast as I could to my house. By the time I got there, I was completely out of breath, my throat hurt and my knees were sore. I shined the light back towards the woods and saw the man at my fence waving at me, his tall and slender figure towering above the fence. I quickly made my way inside and locked all the doors. I woke my dad up and told him what had happened. I don't remember exactly what he did about it, if he called the cops or just let it be, but I don't think anyone else ever saw the guy again. I still never go into the woods alone or anytime near dark, and I certainly stay away from the creek. I don't know if he's still out there, but I do know that if he had caught up to me, I might not be telling this story today.